I'm going to talk a lot about what Lean UX is. Really quickly, I want to talk about one thing Lean UX is not, and I would guess that some of you are starting to think about it in this way. One thing Lean UX is not is design by committee. Okay. I want to make sure that's perfectly clear. I'm not advocating design by committee. Ultimately, I think that's a recipe for failure. What I am advocating is getting out and getting that feedback from your teams, synthesizing that feedback, and building the next iteration of that, and ensuring that the right things go into the design. Because ultimately, you guys know, if you design by committee, you end up with gingerbread monstrosities, not like that. So let's get into what Lean UX is, and specifically how it applies to your day-to-day. So control, you're definitely still in charge of the product. It starts to feel like, hey, I'm doing these rough sketches, I'm going out there, I'm showing rough, raw work to people, I'm getting their feedback, and then I'm building that feedback into the process. I'm not in control of my own work. That's not actually true. What you're actually doing is you're minimizing the amount of time you spend going down the wrong path, right? So by getting out there and making sure that the work that you're doing is meeting your business's needs, your product manager's expectations, your client's expectations, your customer's expectations, you're saving yourself from going down a variety of wrong paths. And so you're still in control. You're just getting that feedback sooner than you would in a more traditional design process. You're getting it early and you're getting it often. The spec doesn't give you control over the design. You own the design. You control the design. Ultimately, you decide what goes in and what comes out. The spec really is the last mile. It's the last mile value that you bring to the team. It's the last. If you still have to create a spec at the end of this process, then it's really just sort of tying up loose ends that everybody already knows. Maybe it's for posterity's sake. It's not. The spec does not give you control. If you spend 3 months perfecting a design, that 3 months could be a month or a week, 6 months, however long your design phase is, only to find that that design fails to meet your customer's needs or the business's needs, you've wasted 3 months of your life. And you've wasted 3 months of your team's life. And the Lean UX process gets you out in front of this early so that you minimize the waste, you minimize the time wasted, and getting that feedback points you in the right direction. And so I read this fantastic article. It actually came out last week. I just read it this week. If you guys haven't read this article, I just added this slide today because it's fantastic. It's Cassie McDaniel and Alyssa Part. She wrote an article called "From Design Criticism and the Creative Process," and it's all about how important critique is and how it shapes the design, how important collaboration is, and getting out as designers and showing our work early and often. And I think this diagram is very powerful in the sense that ideally you're sitting down, you're designing, and you get to the end state as quickly as possible. But in reality, you start to veer off from the ideal state. And by showing the work and getting that feedback, you're course correcting constantly. And what's cool is that the investment that you put in to the small, lightweight iterations is minimal. So if you have to gut the design, if you have to throw it out, that's okay, because you spent a day creating it, or you spend 2 days creating it, not 3 months. If you spent a month or a week or 3 months creating something, and only to find out that it's wrong at that point, letting go of that baby that you've spent every day for 3 months perfecting is significantly harder than a paper sketch or a napkin sketch. I think this is crucial, and it's crucial to remember as you start soliciting feedback during the Lean UX process. You're the keeper of the vision. At the beginning of the process, at the beginning of the project, you've set out a goal. We're going to build this because it solves some kind of problem, right? You're not building software just for fun. You're going to solve some kind of business problem, typically. As the designer on that, you're the keeper of that goal. So as you're showing the work early and often, you're collecting this feedback, and then it's up to you to determine what feedback to keep, what feedback to throw out, and how to integrate that into the design so that you're focused on the end goal. If the end goal is to sell more widgets of whatever your company makes, then that's what all the feedback should be focused on. And if someone gives you something out of left field, you say thank you, and you discard that feedback. And you keep on focusing towards the end goal because you're the experienced designer, you're the user focused professional. It's up to you to maintain that goal and to keep the design, the end experience in mind, right? We're always thinking about the end experience, not what you're actually putting down on the paper, what the actual customer will end up using in the end. Another huge benefit of the Lean UX process is momentum. By showing your work early and often and getting that feedback, you're creating a sense of forward motion. If you go off behind your desk for a week or a month to do something, no one knows what's going on over there. There's kind of dead air between you and your team and your stakeholders specifically. By getting your work out there often, once, twice, 3 times a week, showing it and getting feedback, what you're actually doing is you're saying, hey, there's progress. We talked about this on Tuesday. It's Thursday today. I've done another rev. Check it out. Am I heading in the right direction? I am. I'm going to show you something again on Monday, and we're going to talk about it again. And that feeling is that you're getting momentum, and that everybody's moving with you. And not only are you moving forward, the design is moving forward, and your clients and your stakeholders are coming along with you because you're showing them the work, you're getting their feedback, and you're constantly iterating and moving the design forward. Quality. Quality is a big question, and when I introduced this process at the ladders, I got a lot of pushback from my team, from the designers on my team, from everyone, saying, "Hey, this is the quality here is not up to my standards. I'm showing work that's rough, it's unfinished. I haven't thought through everything. I feel like, pardon the expression, I feel like I'm half-assing the work to a certain extent." And I really like this quote from Jason Fried. You guys know 37 Signals? Everybody's aware, right? Anybody not aware of 37 Signals? Okay, 37 Signals is a software shop based out of Chicago. They build products like Basecamp and Highrise, very popular software as a service, project management, to-do list, that type of thing. And they're authors. They wrote a book called Getting Real and another book called Rework recently, and they tout an extremely thin process. And this is basically their mantra. Jason Fried is the CEO. There's maybe a handful or a dozen of them that work there. And they focus on speed first and aesthetics second. Get the idea out there, get people banging on it, get the feedback, understand if it's actually the right idea, and then make it pretty. That's their mantra, and that drives a lot of this kind of lean design thinking. However, the pushback that I've gotten, and I think it's worth noting, is that a creative director I used to work with said, you know, every time we do this, I feel like I'm going for the bronze. Because I'm running the race for 3rd place. Right? I'm never putting my best work out there. I'm never going for gold medal work. I'm always going for bronze level work. And that's very frustrating for me. I've been taught as a designer to do my best work, to put the most refined picture of the experience out there, as opposed to what I think is just only a partial sketch of that experience. And there's a feeling of going for the bronze. And I get that, and you're going to get that from your designers if you try to institute this at your company. But the beauty of it is that the iterative nature of the Lean UX process gets you to that quality faster. Because ultimately, the initial pass, even if it's beautiful, may not meet the level of quality needed to launch the software product, right? It's the ultimate end state that actually determines whether or not you've met your customer and your business needs. And so let's talk about quality. The iterations means that quality continually improves. How many of y'all have seen this picture before? Pretty popular slide, right? It's really good, and its original intent is to illustrate how different people perceive the requirements for a particular project. That's actually not what I'm using it here for. I'm actually changing the purpose of this because I think it beautifully illustrates the concept of iterations. So for example, you have a project, and the project is the project task is to build a swing. Okay? With the Lean UX approach, you get out there and you say, okay, you know what? I think I've pretty much got an idea of what a swing should look like. I'm going to throw something up there, and it's 2 ropes and 3 bars of wood up there. And so you get some kids to try it, and you get your boss to try it, and your project sponsor to try it. And they're like, you know, it's not working for me. I think it needs to only have 1 bar of one piece of wood in there. And so you do another iteration really quickly. Hey, I've got this. I do it this way with a piece of rope on either side of the tree and a piece of wood. And then you get people to try it very quickly. You've spent very little time creating this. And so each one of these boxes actually represents an iteration on what the end state of that project could be. And if you keep these relatively light and you keep receiving feedback from your team, from your customers, you end up at what you ultimately need, faster, the end state, which in this case was a tire swing, had nothing to do with actual boards. And if you think about it, if you went away and you said, hey, and you came back with a roller coaster, right? That was your first pass, and ultimately all you needed was a tire swing. Again, there's a significant amount of effort that went into this that was largely unnecessary. If you've done the iterations, the smaller approaches, the lower fidelity approaches, you end up here quicker.